on new Minivan Musician.
As long as I can make a sound, my artistry will be around. Long after I'm in the ground and one person feels what I spit, I have.
Let's get on with it. It's Minivan Musician, episode 32.
Yep.
So what's been going on this week?
This week, we have a squat soap review. I told y'all we was going to start doing different things. I figured that was something easy that I could do to, actually provide something for some people because, like I said in that review, if you spend any amount of time on YouTube and you're a man, they let you know you're not a dish, you're a man. And, a lot of people are like, what is this shit? They don't want to spend the money to see what it's about, so I did a review. But
it smells good.
yeah, it does. There's actually a lot of good things about it, man. I like stuff like that. But the vacation video is almost done. It will be done before we go on this year's vacation, which we're leaving on the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
That video is just taking forever because of software changes and all of that. We want to get it right.
Pray for me, people. I'm 36 weeks pregnant. I'll be 37 weeks on the trip.
Yeah, it could get interesting. We might have a North Carolina baby.
We hope not.
It's better than a Michigan baby. But yeah, on the music tip though, I had a couple people that I fuck with ask me like, how come not the weekly Griselda freestyle? And it's not because I can't crank one out every week. Obviously, I did it for like half a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm in a spot now where I'd rather, write when it comes to me. There might be 2 in 1 week sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's more like, to me, it's more quality. I'm actually inspired. I'm not just writing it because I have to do one.
Right.
And I'm also writing the album still.
Yeah.
I got at least half the album done. I'm still writing it, so a lot of focus got to be on that. So I don't want to half-ass either one of those things. So there's that. Outside of that, I'm going to go ahead this week and put the Zombies video by itself.
Zebras.
Why the
He
fuck
always calls it zombies.
I don't know why I do that shit, man. Zebras. I'm going to go ahead and put the Zebras video
Y'all
by
are a
itself.
bunch of zombies.
Well, yeah, I think that's why I don't know. But yeah, it was part of episode 30, I believe.
Yeah.
And I never put the video itself out there.
Mm-hmm.
I still need y'all to go back and listen to the docs.
Yeah.
I need y'all to peep Lovelands. That's probably going to make the cut onto the album. And
I get cold just thinking about that from shooting that video. God,
yeah, it was fun, though. It was fun. And then we got next week, we got to team up with another show. That's going to be a little bit of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll leave it in the description here. I just want to make sure that we record it before I go ahead and say it'll be next week. But that's happening.
Yeah.
I think the following week.
Topics.
Yeah. That this show liked what we did last week and the week before. So
Jones.
yeah. And then also, I believe the following week, we're going to have a local music cat who was a big contributor to the hip-hop scene.
Oh, yeah.
Who was practically canceled. He was made to feel uncomfortable enough to where he kind of walked away from what he loved.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
And we're going to, we want to get somebody who's actually kind of been a victim to this,
mm-hmm.
To speak. So that's a big thing. I believe that'll be happening in a couple weeks. But no, on the music tip, like I said, I'm probably going to crank out another Griselda freestyle before we head out on vacation. And just be on the lookout for other videos because I'm going to go ahead and snip that stuff out and Zebras and put it out there.
Those lights scared the crap out of me. Those are people on bikes flying through here. I thought they were like spotlights. Yeah. Those were creepy.
So, not a whole lot of music releases and stuff to speak of. I feel like I got to get people to go back and listen to the docs, listen to Lovelands,
mm-hmm.
The Diamonds from Verb mixtape, you know what I'm saying? So, mm-hmm. And, I'll probably link to it in here somewhere. Go back and listen to Griselda Freestyle Friday 23. That to me, that's the best one out of all of them. But yeah.
So,
still working.
tonight, I know you kind of wanted to address some things that had to do with Kanye West.
Yeah.
So let's get into that.
Well, I think I got a perspective on this that really hasn't been hit on when it comes to him. He's not doing this to promote an album. Kanye West doesn't have to do something crazy to promote an album.
No, he's got enough followers.
Over and over again, people are like, yeah, I mean, like literally followers. He's practically got a cult.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, people are rattling off, every time that he's about to drop an album, he acts all crazy, says crazy shit, blah, blah, blah. What they're not understanding is, I'm bipolar. This dude's bipolar, maybe, a notch up from me, but I understand how it works for him. The reason why you're hearing the quote-unquote crazy stuff and all of these ideas rattling out right around the time he's dropping an album is because he's in his manic state. That's when the creative thoughts are flying through his head.
Yeah, so he's just spouting them.
Yeah, some of it ends up in music. Some of it ends up, in the actual beats. Mm-hmm. Some of it is just he's expanding his knowledge. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that when you bipolar like that, I mean, the best way to describe it is, let's just say half the time you're in a depressive state, the other half the time you're manic. It's almost never 50-50 like that, and it's not really predictable necessarily, but let's just say for sake of argument, you spend 6 months down, 6 months up. During that 6 months up, it's almost like your mind, maybe it's not even like your chemicals, maybe it's your own personality, is wanting to make up for what you weren't expressing during those 6 months, what you didn't learn during those 6 months. You're trying to catch up. Mm-hmm. And you start feeling that kind of like exuberance of ideas and stuff flying in your head. It feels great. So you get real passionate about what you're thinking about. And one thing about Kanye, as far as like when you're an artist on the way up, I mean, you got to really look back to like Raucous Records times and shit. Kanye was making amazing, groundbreaking beats for cats. And, yeah, he was respected by other artists and shit like that. But, he wasn't held up in high esteem with the cats whose levels he was on or above. And we all know how frustrating that is, to know I spit better than all these cats. I got a better release than all of them, but I'm not being talked about with them. So, as some time went on, he realized that, kind of outlandish shit and allowing his manic side to come out got attention to what he does. Mm-hmm. Now, that sounds like I'm talking about promotion, but that's not necessarily it. He started using that for, like, his ideas, too. Because what it is you got this great idea. Just picture the ideas he's having, like kind of like he's waking up and seeing something about the world that a lot of people ain't noticing. It's kind of like having an epiphany musically. Mm-hmm. It's like you're so intent on people hearing it and understanding it. It's so over the top. You feel like they need it. You're doing a service for them. So whatever you got to say or do to pull them in, you're doing something for them at the end of it anyway. So, they'll be happy. Mm-hmm. So when he rattles off like the Harriet Tubman quote and shit like that, it's like, the way that his passion for the issue that he's trying to express goes is he's not going to bother to say the complete thought. There's that 10% of that shit where Harriet Tubman and what he said is accurate. He leaves all that other shit out of there so you get emotionally engaged. Mm-hmm. You're led to what he's doing, but it's not about sales. It's about you being led to what he's saying so that he can explain the rest to you. And by the time he explains the part that's useful to you, basically probably feels like you forgot all about it. It's like clickbait.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's not for profit.
Right.
It's because somebody might view themselves as a prophet.
Yeah.
And they feel like what they have to say. And Kanye is a genius. It's just because he's a genius in one area does not mean he's a genius in everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he's an idiot savant either.
No.
All I'm saying is that he's expressing his feelings, what he sees as a vision. Mm-hmm. He thinks you need it, and that may be his narcissism. Like, y'all need me. I'm seeing something you ain't seeing. But at the same time, he does think he's doing something good for you. Mm-hmm. So he's not in need of help. I feel like that's the overly PC, like, got to keep you in this little box, Kanye, or this little pigeonhole. You know what I mean? Like, he's not in need of help. Is he bipolar? Yes. Is he insane? Those are two totally different things.
You know what he needs help with?
Hmm.
Getting a fucking divorce from Kim Kardashian.
That part that he said in the tweets, I believe, is real.
I wish he would.
And it seemed like when he expressed himself in what was considered to be crazy over-the-top ways, it seems like for the last time he saw how his wife or her family or all of them viewed like, yo, you're stepping out of line here. You know, you got to toe the company line. It's like, bitch, I'm the talent. I'm the company. I've been wanting a divorce. You know what I'm saying? I can't be myself, you know, which is the whole point of marriage, you know what I'm saying, is being yourself. But sanity is how you function. Mm-hmm. You can have all kind of idiosyncrasies. You can be bipolar as hell. You know, you could spout off crazy ideas. But if you're taking care of your kids, you're making good art, at the end of the day, you're a good person. Why dumb yourself down with meds?
Right.
If it's making you or anyone around you miserable, sure. If you're a danger to yourself or others, fine. Yeah. But if your worldview is just different in a way to where it disturbs other people, so fucking what?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
You know what I mean? So, I had a couple notes here. Man, my notes are so scribbled and shit. I'm going off the head.
I can never read his handwriting.
I mean, when you go through these ups as a bipolar person, you're rattling these ideas and you're trying different things and you may even think you're a different kind of person and then you flip back and it's all this stuff. The stuff that you go through during the ups, the rapid thought and then the amount of time you're spending analyzing it without even knowing it, it helps define who you are during the downs. So whereas you may have laid around, hated everything about your life, just wanted to die in the last down, okay, and in your manic state, you may have expressed yourself like politically and had like a big controversial opinion. Yeah. And then, you know, during your down, you're kind of stuck talking about that maybe. Right. Which becomes constructive. Now, as both extreme sides of you're working through something, you're talking about it. That's why a lot of times you see somebody like Kanye, they seem so over the top about something and impassioned, like I said, and it seems like they've gone to the edge, like you can't go no further. And a lot of people say, oh, he pulled all that back once the album dropped. No. In the depressed state, he pulled it back a bit, but he still believes in that shit.
Oh, absolutely.
He's just not preaching it to you.
He's not talking about it.
Right. These are his real beliefs.
I mean, I go through that a lot.
As far as the racial and socioeconomical stuff that Kanye's saying, he believes it.
Absolutely.
The historical stuff,
that stuff, his beliefs like that don't change. He doesn't spout them off all the time.
I mean, the historical stuff he's using as reference where he's picking one little piece out for you to pay attention. He still feels that way about that piece. He's just kind of leaving the rest out so that he can tell you a different story once he pulls you in. Right. But the presidential bid thing, it's one of two things, man. It's either fucking genius because he is still totally supporting Trump and he wants to pull votes away from Biden or some shit like that. Or it's one of these things where he's in his manic state and he's like, fuck, I could do that. Right. Why not?
Look at these clowns. I'm going to do it too.
Right. and he does it, you know, and it's kind of like, wow, the response wasn't as bad as some people would think. Right. I don't know if he'll ever actually want to run, but I think it's one of those things where he's kind of like, fuck it, let's see what happens. Right. And it gives him a platform to spill his ideas and emotions. Exactly. And when he's up there crying and it seems like he's having a nervous breakdown, it's like he kind of is, but he's really just letting everything spill out of him that he's been dormant in his down state for so long that he hasn't even allowed himself to think about. So all I'm saying is that, you know, there's no need to fix him or get him help. I mean, imagine get him help. What are you going to do? You're going to take him and force him to go into a fucking crazy home or something? Psychiatrist. And then when he goes, you know, either he's going to fucking play the role and pretend like, okay, I'm taking this serious. And then when he gets out, be himself. Or he's going to fight it all along the way. And when he gets out, he's going to be himself. He's not gonna fucking change. He's
It's
a
like,
grown ass
the
man.
dude's not like
He's
on
learned to
drugs.
thrive on these cycles.
People are like, "Oh, get him help." It's like he's
No.
not like a drug addict.
I mean,
or
yes,
like
he stopped taking
you know?
meds. But see, there's a thing there, and I have a friend who died kind of as a result of this. A friend I lost in a whole different way as a result of this. You know, you're a creative type. You're putting these medications that make you a fucking zombie.
Mm-hmm.
I've personally been through it, not on a level that I've seen, though.
Yeah, but I've seen him go through it. And it's
Right.
rough.
Yeah, I mean, I admit
Changes
it.
you.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So either you're going to sit there and think about, oh my God, I'm so crazy, you know, last week I was so down, now I'm so confident, and you're gonna overanalyze it and just feel terrible, or you're gonna learn to just roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, you know, it's kind of like, yo, it fucking sucks that I'm stuck in traffic right now, but then later on I'll be zooming right along. So you actually look forward to that manic state. Now, obviously, it's good to find a way to balance that. You want to, you know, I'm on a medication that stretches out the amount of time between those swings.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe something like that. But I have a feeling that if he's rejecting medication so much,
It's because he's probably had bad experiences with it.
yeah, because it's probably the wrong medication.
Right.
They give the same shit to everybody,
God,
and
it's
everybody's
so
brain's
hard
different.
to find the right medication for anybody. I mean, and a lot of people, there's not a right medication for them. There's just one that's like close enough, and close
Right.
enough is not always a good thing.
And I mean, you know, there's other stuff, obviously. You know, you force yourself onto a sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have your to-do list that keep you in check. You eat right, you
Right.
exercise, you know what I'm saying?
It's not
All of those
easy.
type of things. It's frustrating when you do all those things and it still don't help.
It's very hard. I've been
So,
through it many a time.
I feel for the dude, but I don't feel like he needs help. Worst case scenario, he does some over-the-top shit that's never criminal or dangerous,
No, he's not hurting anybody.
and makes himself look kind of stupid.
Yeah,
But
so
somebody
what?
like him always recovers, meaning they do something so great,
Mm-hmm.
or they're able to talk their way around something. But all I'm saying, man, it just to sum this shit up, it's not for promotion. He doesn't need it.
No.
It just so happens to be that this is when his thoughts are flying fast, and that's when you're going to make a creative project too. You know, he's overly impassioned about a subject, so he's going to say stuff that's over the top to pull you in, but it's not in a bad sense. It's not nefarious. It's because he feels like he's going to provide you with something at the end of it.
He's like doing you a service in his mind.
Right. I mean, it's like having a pickup line that's insulting, but then once you get the chick's attention,
Right.
you lay it on right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I believe that, with creative types, it's really difficult, especially if you have a high level of intelligence, which many intellectuals who have been around Kanye will tell you. Eric Weinstein spent...
Weinstein.
I keep overthinking
Yeah,
that.
there's
You
a
don't
line
wanna
there.
get that one
You don't
wrong.
want Weinstein as your last name.
Eric Weinstein spent 2 days with Kanye just talking about ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and that guy's an absolute genius.
Yeah, if you know who he is,
He's also in the abstract a little
extremely
bit.
smart.
He does that Portal video series now, but ridiculously intelligent, and he's almost in awe of Kanye's intelligence. I mean, so it's not some shit where it's like, oh, he's an evil genius. There's some hidden meaning behind all of this. There may be some strategy in it, but I don't think it's the almost conspiracy type shit that people are throwing out there. I mean, as far as people calling, I mean, you got to realize that some of these cats that are intelligent and have kind of a creative gene or whatever it is you want to call it, like taking Alex Jones, for instance. Him and Kanye are really similar.
Yeah, they are.
They just keep going and going and going and going. And I do it
They
at times
sound
like this
crazy
sometimes.
to you, like,
But man, there's some really good shit in there.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the over-the-top stuff that's just kind of out there where they're just kind of like spitballing makes you discredit
Yeah, it makes
the
you
good
think
stuff.
they're nuts.
But those two are similar. And they both also have a touch of paranoia.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex is a little bit worse, but I mean, his comes from a place at home where his dad supposedly was actually a part of some government stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I think a lot of true artists and the really passionate artists a lot of times don't make it because of shit like this. Mm-hmm. I went over the top with, you know, trying to pull people's attention into what I was doing and expressing myself a little bit too much to where it offended people, it turned them off. You know what I'm saying? Years later, they heard the projects and was like, damn, that shit was great, man, but you really put me off. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of us don't make it because of the way that we, you know, it's perceived we're behaving that way, but it's not behavior, it's how we express ourselves. Behavior is more like how you treat someone when you meet them.
And artistry is expression. It should be more widely accepted in the ways that, you know, you're speaking about than it is. People look at people and are so judgmental. And it's like, well, art is supposed to be like a free form of expression. So these artists, like, are expressing themselves in this way or that way. And just because you're like, oh, that seems crazy. It's like, well, look at all the people that you, like, worship, though, as, like, artists.
That's what I mean. If
like,
that crazy fits your mood or your life, it's good crazy.
Right.
But if you disagree with it, it's insanity.
And that's, you know...
It's like, really?
I mean, there's so many artists that, like, you know, people hold on these huge pedestals. A lot of them are dead. And it's like, oh, they were nuts.
That's usually when they're
or they were on a drug or this or that or whatever. It's like, well... Yeah, but you think they're, like, the greatest thing in the world, and it's like, so when this person does something like that, and, you know, spouts off some crazy ideas that you think are just, you know, one way or the other, like, now they're just a nut job, and so, you know, none of their art means anything, like, that's ridiculous. Artists are eccentric people.
Is it any more sane when, or is it any less sane when an artist like Kanye goes off of, you know, a common, mental health medication than when another artist goes onto heroin?
Right. And you know people worship them. I mean, I love
he's so
one of my favorite artists in the world is Kurt Cobain, you know?
And to be honest, his art probably wouldn't have been good without the heroin.
Yeah, that's a whole other...
I mean, you know, some people need something to bring stuff out of them. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like Kanye has kind of learned how to use his mania.
Yeah.
It's difficult, honestly, and you should really pay attention to his art because, you know, a lot of us don't get a chance to actually capture some of the good ideas that we have. I know he's going to throw 1 million out there and some may not, and, you know, a lot of them will miss. But some of the great ones, like those of us who aren't in a position like that, those thoughts come and go because we can't go into the other side of the house and record an album for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? We can't go fucking spend a week, you know, at such and such company, like designing some clothing that came to mind. So, I mean, you need to kind of cherish it. I mean, this dude is not, it doesn't seem he's a danger to himself. I mean, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just somebody who has maybe a lesser, but a similar issue. And I kind of identify with it. And we've talked about artists and their mental health, you know, like artists, and especially like I said, when he first came into the game, it's like, if you know you're really good at something and you've seen the way it affects people, it's so frustrating when you're at a level where people are really starting to hear you, but it's just, you're not, you need a certain push from a record label or some kind of luck or something. So, you know, sometimes you'll act out a certain way to bring some attention to it and stuff like that. I mean, you know, you can call that marketing, you can call it promotion, but to me, it's more like having a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, somebody like Pusha T lives with a fucking chip on his shoulder.
Absolutely.
He's always trying to call somebody out. Game.
Oh, God.
That's all he's ever done.
Yeah.
He gets disrespectful with it because he thinks it's fucking cool and cute to be like a goon and shit. It's like, dude, you ain't really a goon. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, some cats thrive on that shit in a nefarious way where it's like, you know, they're malevolent. Just fucking
malevolent.
I made up a new word.
Yeah.
You know, they're malevolent with it. Like, I mean, I don't think that's the case with Kanye. I think that Kanye truly believes, and like I said, it's probably his own narcissism, that the ideas and the thoughts that I have and the theories are correct. And it'll help mankind if mankind turns their ears and their minds this way. And what I'm trying to get across is he might be right. I believe a lot of what he's saying is on point. I believe there's a lot mixed in there that's not only offensive, but it's incorrect. So it kind of...
Yeah, it muddles it up a lot.
People get so offended easily. It's like me, I try to pick out the good.
Yeah.
Even if I watch a shitty movie, like, I'm trying to find the good part, you know what I'm saying? And
I spent my time listening to or watching that. I need to find something good about it.
Exactly. That's exactly what
Otherwise,
the fuck I'm saying.
I feel like I wasted my fucking time.
So, I mean, you know, like, compared to some of the other people that are in the spotlight all the time, including his idiot-ass wife.
Jesus.
You know, no disrespect to Kanye, but plenty disrespect
Fuck
to
them,
those
though.
people.
I can't stand them.
I mean, they're like... I mean, seriously, like,
Lord.
just allow yourself to live so fucking, like, in such a ditzy, brain-dead fashion. But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. She's done some shit for prison reform.
Yeah, that is good.
You know, kind of like a princess or somebody who's an heiress. They got all the time in the world and all kinds of money, so at least they should dedicate it to something good, which I guess she's done.
At least that part, yeah, that's good.
Weird shit she's done with her hips, though, freaks me out, and it's influenced young women to do the same, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, what I'm saying is that Kanye is the least of our worries culturally.
Yeah.
As far as an entertainer or something having influence on people. I mean, he's just throwing his shit out there, and it's like, the people who are following it and stuff like that, they're doing like me, they're kind of picking the good out of it. And they kind of just need something to believe in, but it's not like he's guiding them to anything negative.
No.
He's just got an opinion in a way that he thinks that the world should go. And I mean, I agree with a lot of what he says. And he catches a lot of shit because he's considered a black conservative.
Yeah.
Black conservatives catch a lot of shit fucking no matter what. It
sure.
doesn't matter who they are or none of that.
Majorly looked down upon.
I mean, you know, you hear the term Uncle Tom thrown around about him.
Super disrespectful.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, he's just working through very complex history, politics, you know, racial relations, and he's spouting theories out as though they're fact because he hasn't worked his way to the end yet, but he's really excited about what he's found.
Yeah.
I've done that shit where I've sat there and been like, yo, Aleister Crowley was the illest fucking magician in the world, and he like raised up demons, and, you know, and I'm just like all about it and shit like that. And then I read other perspectives, and I'm like, okay, well, he really didn't do all of that, and he did a lot of fucking like pedophiliac
really
shit,
bad, creepy stuff,
and all of that, you know. And I'm like, but I was really excited about like finding out something that was so intriguing
this
that
was
no
a
one had
long
taught
time
me.
ago, by the way.
Yeah, it's just an example that just came to my mind where it's like you find something out. You know, some people do that. God, people will share a meme.
Oh, people do it about everything. I've
or
done it about
a fake news story, and then they'll run with that as reality. Like, oh, this person's a pedophile, and all these people are linked together, and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, they didn't study it, but if you meet them, that's the first thing you're going to talk about because they're excited and they're manic about it. Well, imagine if you had no control over that mania, and some of your fucking ideas actually made sense. They weren't just like conspiracy theory. And you felt like your race of people or your class or whatever
needed to hear it.
Yeah. At least some of it. So, I mean, I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like, you know, it's pretty disrespectful the way that people talk about it.
It is.
I think it's the easy answer. Oh, he's doing it for promo.
And people want to, you know,
Tom.
throw the mental health thing into it.
He's
like,
crazy.
He needs help and blah, 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 and this and that. And then people are like, you know, well, seeing Kanye cry and break down, and then people making fun of it, it makes people, you know, say that men's mental health isn't taken seriously, which is very true.
That is true.
But they make it into a bigger issue than it needs to be with him.
Kanye's not a man. He's a self-proclaimed guy.
Yeah, right.
No, but what I mean is he's not a man, meaning his lifestyle, his position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got that chip on your shoulder, and then all of a sudden, at one point, you really are looked at as the hyperbolic thing you said you were. Hyperbolic. I just
Hyperbolic.
can't talk to I'm seeing words in my mind instead of saying them. All of a sudden, you are what you claim to be, and you're like, damn, I didn't like really actually
think that
expect.
through. Shit.
Kind of like Donald Trump. Fuck, I'm actually president. I might have to do something.
Now what?
Yeah, like seriously. So I just think that like the presidential thing, it's one of those ideas that came into his head, and he's basically narcissistic, and he's like, why not?
Right.
If it helps my guy, cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it makes it to where I can run for something later if I actually want to, cool.
In his mind,
What's it
he
gonna
can't
hurt?
lose, so why wouldn't he try?
I mean, it's not like he's like getting high and drunk and driving 160 miles an hour.
No, he's not out touching kids either, like everybody else.
As far as I know, thank God. Like,
you know, like, so.
I mean, that's all I'm saying is that I feel like, you know, I'm repeating myself, but I feel a little bit like dudes catching a bad rap and people are taking the easy way out when they're giving an opinion on it. And to be honest, somebody like that, despite the narcissism, I think he's a vulnerable narcissist, and I'm not going to get all into the different types.
Is. Google it.
I think that, like, you know, if everybody, like, just rags on him and basically says he's, like, poison for the culture and he's an Uncle Tom and stuff like that, one of two things is going to happen. That's when he has a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
When he goes into his low, he may never come out of his low, or it's going to make him overcompensate in the other direction.
Yeah, which could be not great either.
I mean, so honestly, it's just, you know, I'm not sitting there saying, like, oh, poor Kanye or nothing.
No, not at all.
Y'all better watch out, you know. But I'm just saying that it's not what it appears to be. I mean, some of the theories are cute. You know what I'm saying? but it's not what it appears to be. Yeah. I do wish the man well. I think that he should... I think he already does, but he should get some help in the form of finding a way to
balance.
Yeah, to balance. I mean, like I said, you're a creative person. You kind of thrive on that intense mania, but man, life is so much more peaceful.
You gotta have some.
You can stretch it out. You know, it's good to be manic sometimes. You know, you might create some great shit, but when you calm down a bit is when you're able to actually do something with it. But I wish the guy luck. Just wanted to talk about that. Like I said, we've got another a kind of a co-hosted podcast coming next week. And that's really about it. We're going to do a really special Flow Face-Off next week, too. And I've got something on here that I'm going to add here at the end called You Can't Have Both.
Yeah.
And... you know, it's one of those things that I find myself saying in arguments a lot of times, that I think that it'll be kind of interesting to people, and I would love to have their ideas on. Well, you'll see it at the end here.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you got anything important to say to these people, I'm tired.
Not really.
I think I spent enough time talking about Kanye West.
I have back-to-back doctor's appointments tomorrow, so I need to go to sleep.
Maybe next week that dude will say, you know, fuck all white people, and I'll resent.
Be like, oh, well, fuck you then.
I would still have the same opinion on his mental health, man. Just let the shit ride.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, I just felt like it's something that needed to be talked about. But we'll be back next week with number 33.
33.
33. Yeah. And on that note, I'll say peace. A new added segment of Minivan Musician, You Can't Have Both. Now, instead of giving an example, I'm just going to get into it. Some people will come out and say things like, your vote don't matter. You know, you may as well not even vote. Your vote don't matter. They'll go into a big, long, fucking Constitution-length explanation as to why and how it don't matter. Electoral college, blah, 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 right? They're passionate about it. They clearly have an opinion, right? They're trying to sell you on it. Then, when an election comes up and a candidate that they don't like, or their own party's candidate who they're unhappy with makes promises, right? Those same people say, man, they'll say anything to get your vote. Wait a minute. Hold up. You can't have both. You mean to tell me that these... normally law degree having, life to politics sacrificing career politicians are going to go through all that trouble, all those promises, all that touring, all of that money for campaign ads to get your vote. But remember, your vote don't matter. From now on, people, just think. When you have a strong opinion, look at the opinion on the other side and just see if you can ever see yourself voicing that opinion when you get passionate about something. If you have suggestions for You Can't Have Both, throw them in the comments. I got a long list of these motherfuckers.